let's see. Good morning. This is the 49 days of CBC, and yes, we're still in week 6, and this is Mr. Tyrone Taylor. And I tell you, I think I met him back in 1991, my very first time ever coming to Carolina Bible Camp when I was dating Melissa when I was at Woodman of the World. And it's just a great opportunity for us to sit down with Mr. Tyrone. He's got a lot of years with CBC, and it's a place he dearly loves. He works hard during week 6. Do you come any other weeks?
No, just week 6.
All right. Well, Tyrone, thank you for all your time that you've put into Carolina Bible Camp over the years. I know it's a sacrifice when you have to take off from work and come to Carolina Bible Camp, but you know, it's the hardest week you'll ever work, and it's the most satisfying, gratifying week. So how are you, brother?
I'm doing just fine.
Doing fine?
Just trying to stay healthy.
Just trying to stay healthy. That's true. Trying to stay away from that coronavirus, right?
Exactly, yes.
So, you know, this is how many years would this have been for you to be at Carolina Bible Camp?
I started when I was 16, 54, so probably about altogether about 38 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's been a big part of your life for a long time.
Yes.
Yes. So when you heard about us canceling, how did that hit you?
Oh, it hit kind of hard. Because like I said, it's a time that I get away from work.
Yeah.
I can unwind. But that's where all my Christian friends come.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm just accepted. We have fun. We learn more about God. We get closer to each other. So that's the mostly that I really miss about not going to camp.
Yeah, these have been lifelong friends that you've made over the years. I know,
yes.
Melissa and Rusty both have been your friends for quite a long time, for that amount of time. I imagine 38 years. You know, when you think back, you've experienced what, 2 of the locations for camp, or was it 3?
I've been to 3.
Okay.
My first started, I was 16. I went to Camp Susan Barbara Jones.
All right.
But I only went there one time. Like, I only experienced a camper life one time. That was when I was 16.
Okay.
Yes. And the church, Brooks Avenue, 2 elders, Jack Harris and Ed Woodhouse,
right,
actually paid for me to go.
All right.
Yeah, because at the time, my mom was raising 4 kids by herself, so it was kind of hard on her to, you know, do it. Because, you know, I heard about it for years because, you know, I was in the youth group. So I heard about everybody going. I always wanted to go, but she could never, you know, have the money for me to go. So they paid for me to go that year, and I went up to Camp Susan Barbara Jones, met Dennis, and I enjoyed it so much the first time I actually stayed. I think it was just like three weeks. So I wanted to stay, so they let me actually work in like the kitchen around that time. So I got to work. I got to stay there for 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah, I always think it's neat when you see these kids that you know, they'll stay 3, 4, 5 weeks during the summertime. We've even had some staff, like some college students, that have worked all 7 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the energy. At least not today. I don't have the energy for that. Yeah. Well, you know, when you think back over the locations and everything, I'm sure that there's memories that stand out to you, just like the one you said about the first time you went, you ended up staying 2 weeks instead of the 1 week. What are some memories that you have of Carolina Bible Camp that you want to share with us today?
That's fun. I always like the Wild Camp because it's in Asheboro. I always loved that camp because we got to go to the zoo like every Wednesday, every year. We always went to the zoo. My best friend Rusty played a trick on me, kind of scared him to death because they never knew that I was afraid of snakes, like really bad. So Rusty and I'm playing a trick, put a dead one in my bed one day.
Oh.
And I leaned back on it. Yeah, I was up there, I was ventilating. Rusty was chasing me with it. I hit him in the knee with a softball.
That's Melissa's brother, Rusty, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the most things I always remember, I maybe even told Dennis about it. Back in 1990, when Desert Storm started, I was in the Air Force at the time.
All right.
Got a phone call at camp that I had to go.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I got a phone call at camp saying that I had to come right away. We was about to get deployed.
Oh, right.
And I remember I remember a lot of them made me, like, we used to do crafts and stuff. So a lot of them made me flowers. And I tell Sherry to this day, I still got the flowers in a box at the house. I don't know if the moths might have ate them, but I still got the flowers. But the most memory, I remember we was in the dining hall and he all was talking and praying. I'm way in the back. I could see Dennis. And I saw tears in his eyes. That's when I knew then that I was loved at that camp. And then another time was at the camp we're at now, a few years back. Some kids accidentally, I broke my glasses, and I think they were scared, so we couldn't find my glasses.
Oh.
So I had to go like 2 or 3 days without no glasses. I mean, I could see, but I really didn't need them. And on the last day when we used to collect money for like Marvin Chavis, Dennis called me up front, and the kids had donated money to help me get a brand new pair of glasses.
Oh.
And then Miss Bonnie helped me with the rest. But it just shows that that's where I go. I'm just like, I really feel your love at that camp.
That's
To
beautiful.
my heart. I always love that camp. To my heart.
That's beautiful. I hadn't heard those stories before, but that's you love the way that they love at camp.
Yes.
The CBCers love, and
Yes.
to see the kids do that, to participate in that, to help and everything. That's what Carolina Bible Camp's all about.
Yes.
The relationships. You know, some of those kids that you had way back then are probably staff now. You know, and that's always neat to see those kids that grow up and they want to be a part of camp, even when they're going off to college. They make it a point to come back from college. Here you are in the Air Force, and your time off. Where are you at? Carolina Bible Camp. You know, and that just shows the importance that people put on Carolina Bible Camp, and I appreciate it so much. I know I think I worked with you in '93, Dennis's week, and you're sitting there talking about different stories and stuff. I remember Melissa and I were brought in as head counselors that week, and I'd never been to camp as far as a worker or a kid or anything. And so it was an eye-opening experience. I mean, I had a rough week, but my heart wasn't right. But I remember sitting out there. It's when we had the old log ties for the steps there in the shelter.
Yeah.
And Melissa and I were sitting out there talking late one night, and I said, "What is that?" I look over there and I see white sock feet running through the woods. You know, you could just see there's like 4 or 5 guys. I'm like, who is that? And I take off chasing them. Well, I finally catch them, and it's Rusty and a couple of those buddies. They were trying to sneak out and go around to Girl Town, you know.
Yeah.
But those are the kind of memories that you have of camp, and you know, it's a place that you feel at home. You feel loved.
Yes.
And how often do you talk to people from week 6 during the year?
Most time I see them. I talk to them on Facebook all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Them, their families, and so yeah. I thought a lot of them from like different weeks, even like you said, weeks I don't go.
Mm-hmm.
I still talk to ones from camp.
Well, I know you've been up to our house a couple of times over the last couple of years, and that's always good to see you there. You know, and like the interview I was having this morning with Ricardo and Charlotte, we were talking about just the relationships that are established, and you know, we always think of our weeks as the best week, and you know, it's better than everybody else, but the best week is every week, like we talked about earlier. And there's amazing people during each week that, like you, spend their vacation time coming to Carolina Bible Camp, and that's a blessing to camp, to have the dedication of folks like you and me that you know, we want to be part of it. When we plan it, I'll put my vacation time down like now. I'll say, all right, for next year, I'm going to be off this week. And I hope the weeks line up right. But well, I know that you've had experiences with campers that have stood out in your mind. Is there one that you want to share with us that you can think of?
Oh, one camper. I mean, it's so many. But actually, it was really two, because I know they was, to me, Chuck Taylor and Matt Hudson, even though they don't go now, to see them grow after having them as campers, it just the Lord moving mysterious ways, because they both have loving families. They both love the Lord and serve the Lord. Like I've seen it, it's like them two mainly. I've seen it's like every time I see them on Facebook, I'm just so proud of them. It's like, God, you've done wonderful things with those young men right there.
Yeah, it's neat, isn't it? Neat seeing them grow up and become strong Christian men. Well, brother, when you think back over the years, I know you've had experience with a lot of wonderful leaders, directors, and working with Dennis all these years, and then HR, and you think back to Rick Norman coming up there, and Sam Norman, and all those guys. And I remember the great softball games we'd have in the afternoon, and Rick would show up with like
he don't run, so everybody get mad.
You had to have a case of softballs whenever he showed up, because they're going to be in the books before you know it.
Exactly.
Is there a staff member or a camper that's left a lifelong impression on you that you want to share with us this morning?
It had to be Dennis. Like I said, Dennis has seen me grow from a boy to a man to, like, I guess adulthood, as I call it now. Because I used to have trouble, like I said, my father left when I was 14. So it's been my mom raising us by herself for the longest time. He never had any like the father figure, but every time I come to camp, if I ever had a problem, we always had talks. He always dealt with the crazy stuff that I used to do. And then like one year he just told me, he was like, man, he said, I'm really proud of you. He said, you have matured so much. He said, I never thought this day would come. But he said, you have matured so much. And watching him through the years too, just things he has to deal with, to me, he's really strong. So he's always going to be one of the ones that help me out, and just one of the reasons that I always try to come to camp his weeks.
There you go. All right. So Tyrone, it's been a true blessing spending a few minutes with you talking about Carolina Bible Camp, how special it is to you.
Yes.
Can you sum up camp in one word?
Marvelous.
Marvelous. Marvelous.
Marvelous.
Well, brother, I know from spending these few minutes with you talking about camp, how much camp means to you, and those stories that you told about the time that you were in the Air Force and everybody praying for you and stuff like that. That's memories that I will have now that I get to think about, share with other people. And the 49 days of CBC is that. It's to share the love and the joy and the fun that we have at Carolina Bible Camp all 7 weeks. All week is an individual week, but it's a beautiful week in itself. And we get to be a small part of that. And that's the neat thing. And I just pray, brother, that we're able to continue to do this as long as possible. And maybe one of these days we'll work again the same week. We'll be a little bit older than we were 30 years ago. We'll still get around, though. We'll still have fun, still cut up.
Yes.
So, brother, take care of yourself. And, we've got a whole nother year to plan. When you think about, we start planning in, whenever we leave week 7, we already have the next year's theme picked out. And you start to implement it starting in January. You start moving along, getting your staff together and all that stuff. So, brother, I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Is there anything you'd like to say and leave people with an encouraging word?
All I can say is keep your hope in God and stay strong. Stay
strong. There you go. You heard it from Mr. Tyrone. And I know that you've impacted so many young folks over the years with your work. And I just pray for God to keep using you as his hands and feet. And brother, just share your heart, share your love. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.